Hey guys, welcome back to What Would Daria Wear. I'm here doing an update on my LA journey. So I've already done a video about how I got here, the process of looking for an apartment, all that jazz, everything leading up to my move. I did a video on my YouTube channel last year. So if you want details on that, you can go back and watch that one. It's been a year, obviously, since I've done it, but all of the information still applies. But this video is more of an update, kind of talking about how I've been adjusting. Since moving here, I'm in my second apartment, which is great. So what I did was on Instagram, I asked you guys for some questions, things that you wanted me to answer, anything. And so you definitely delivered. And so I have some good questions to answer. And I'm pretty excited about it. So let's get into it. So like I said before, you can watch my previous video that I did last year on my LA journey. I'll make sure to either link it below or have it pop up so you can click on it and go watch. But I wanted to give you guys a brief overview of, some stuff about me. So basically, I was born in Buffalo, moved to Charlotte when I was 8, Charlotte, North Carolina, that is. Went to school in Greensboro, college in Greensboro, and Charlotte is home. I still have family there. My mom lives there, all my friends, but I've always wanted to move to the West Coast. Obviously, Los Angeles in particular. I visited with my cousin. I visited with a cousin when I was a teenager, and my life was forever changed. I knew I wanted to live here. Obviously, I had only, visited and vacationed here, so I didn't know about the life in California, but I was just open to it. And because I didn't have any children and nothing really holding me back besides not really having a job here set up, and fear, I was like, look, I prayed on it, I fasted, I started to save up my money. I moved back in with my mom in Charlotte, started saving up my money crazy. I knew that for a fact it was going to be $1,000 to ship my car. And then I had already been looking at apartments. And so I knew about how much I needed to save up for rent, at least 2 months rent. But my suggestion is to save up as much as you can. If moving, maybe not even California, but somewhere else, definitely making sure you have money, a good nest egg saved up for your move. Ahead of time, I did look for jobs. I applied for jobs. Nothing really panned out. Even with using someone else's address that lived here, I really wasn't getting any feedback, even going through staffing agencies, because that was, my other option. And nothing was really panning out because, of course, with staffing agencies, they want you to come immediately. They want you to start. And I'm like, I'm still working my job, and then you want me to fly out just to do an interview for a job that I may not even get. So, again, I prayed, I fasted, and God just kind of started to move things around, and he told me one day, just quit your job. So I went, put my 2-week notice in, just for my manager to say, well, we have a location out in LA. It's not, I'm not going to, because I was going to be a HR manager. I wasn't going to be able to do that position, but they're like, well, you can go move out and do your current position until you find another job. So basically I was able to transfer my job and work from home part-time and then work in the office that they had here. And that was truly a blessing, because in my mind, God is telling me, well, not even in my mind, God is telling me to quit my job, but he knew good and well I was about to go in there and tell her that she's going to tell me I could transfer my job. So he has a sense of humor. So that was pretty cool. So yes, after I saved my money, I got my, word from God that I could go ahead and make this move. I did. I moved out here, stayed with a cousin in Orange County for a month and some change. And yeah, it was all she wrote after that. I had already found a brand new building, an apartment in NoHo. And so I was able to see it once I moved. So that was the big drawback. If you're able to, fly and check things out beforehand, I highly suggest it, because I've had friends who have moved here and got something off the strength of what it looked like online, and it definitely wasn't what they expected. And you definitely don't want any issues with roaches, rodents, security, just it not looking like the pictures. That is a huge thing to keep in mind. But because this was a brand new building that was built from the ground up, nobody had ever lived in it, I was like, okay, good. I'm like, it has parking, it has air conditioning. The only thing that I had to buy was a refrigerator, and that's a lot, but that fridge is going with me everywhere. It took a minute for me to get into my place because they were waiting on permits and all that jazz, which pissed me off, but I got in there eventually, and I loved it. I love my first apartment, other than the loud people above me, but other than that, it was truly a blessing to move here, being a brand new apartment that I was, in an area I'm getting to know as a new resident. But it was good. It was good. And now I'm in my second apartment, and I don't have anybody above me. I have great lighting. It's everything that I could have asked for. And so now we're here. We are here. So I want to get into these questions. So kind of answered this. Did you have a job in place when you moved? How was it finding housing? I did transfer my job. Process of finding a job, I still started dealing with the staffing agencies. But that really didn't pan out because I knew I didn't want to, because obviously staffing agencies have to get their cut. I wanted all my money because I knew how much the cost of living is here, and I wanted all my money. So I was just applying like a crazy person. That was my other full-time job, was looking for a job. I got a job, so I moved in August, September, October, November. I got a job 3 months later. So that worked out. It's in HR, so that's cool. I have that experience, have over 6 years worth of HR experience. And I can do the job in my sleep, so it's great. And it pays the bills. Literally, it pays the bills. So finding housing, I already knew what area I wanted to live in. I wanted to live in the Valley. I have friends who lived in this area, and it just was more family oriented and quiet. Okay, like not like LA living, like downtown LA. I didn't want like all the riffraff, too many people, like, like that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be semi-similar to what I was used to in North Carolina. It's not obviously not as rural as, North Carolina, but it was enough. And I knew like, I had people or friends who were in this area. So I was like, okay, that would be easy to maneuver. So I just looked in this area. So NoHo, Studio City, Sherman Oaks. If you want to get deeper in there, there's Northridge, there's Woodland Hills, Burbank, Toluca Lake. Yeah, there's tons of areas, but the Valley, if you just Google the Valley, and then it'll tell you the areas that are, just do that if you want that type of living. If not, West LA is good, but that's in LA. So I don't know much about that area, but I do have friends who live in West LA, Los Angeles, like LA, and Hollywood, downtown LA, and they like the area. So, that's for you to do your own research. But as far as looking for housing, you definitely want to see it ahead of time. You can go by pictures if you want, but from experience, even flying out here one time before I had gotten my first apartment, I flew out here to look at 4 places that I had set up appointments with. Absolutely hated every single one. So it's kind of like a job too, trying to find a nice place. I really can't give you any other advice other than to come and look at the places. Don't go by pictures. That's it. That's all. Did I plan to move? yes and no. I always wanted to move here, but I didn't know if I could do it because I was kind of scared to do it. So again, I just prayed and fasted and was like, if this is it, God, this is what you think that I should do, then let me know. You know, if it wasn't, then I would have still been in Charlotte, which is totally fine because I love home. And I was definitely, my brand was growing as well when I was there. But I am super thankful for this move and it being a part of God's plan, because obviously we know what happens. He laughs at our plans for sure. How do you afford your own place? So when I lived in North Carolina, I had my own place there too. And my rent there it was a brand new apartment complex. Nobody had ever lived in my apartment ever, so I was spoiled when that happened, number one. So that's why I've been fooling with only brand new buildings here, because I've heard the horror stories. But other than that, how do I afford my own place? I have a job. In addition to that, obviously, I do my influencer blogger thing, and then I have my business. So that's how I afford my own place. I made sure that when it came to negotiating a salary at the job that I'm at, that it would cover, all of my expenses. So that's how I afford it. I make sure that I would be able to do a 1-bedroom, because I didn't want roommates. I don't know. I mean, I have friends here, but I didn't want roommates at all. I wanted to be able to maneuver about the cabin by myself if I want to. And that's just the preference that I had. So that is how I'm able to afford my own place. Have you ever had any moments where you felt like the move was a mistake? No. It has been a tough move, or there have been times where it was tough adjusting, being so far away from like family. Like right now, I really want to go home. I want to go home to visit. I don't want to go home to move, but I miss my friends. I miss my family. I just miss my favorite food spots. But it doesn't feel like I'm not supposed to be here. I know I have a purpose for being here, and I'm working towards a lot of things right now. And so yeah, my time here is I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I've never felt like it was a mistake. I feel like, if anything, I've just felt like, I've gone through times of feeling alone, which is normal. But I got over it, like it's something that you kind of have to grow through. And that's just life. So in order for me to grow and be a better person, I had to go through this process, and I'm totally fine with that. And of course, somebody said, where did you move from? I moved from North Carolina, Charlotte to be exact. How are you able to still shop? I think it just comes from being able to budget well, I guess. Again, I wanted to make sure that the job that I have, the salary would cover all of my expenses plus my shopping budget. So that's all I can really say. And then I also, try and step up my hustles, trying to figure out what else I can do to make money, I got my hair sleeves, I'm selling my clothes, like stuff that I'm not wearing, my influencer gigs, stuff like that. So you just have to figure out how to make multiple streams of income. And I think that's where it kind of comes in. What was your intent on moving to LA? Definitely wanted change. I had only lived on the East Coast. Again, like I said, I was born in Buffalo, lived there until I was 8, moved to North Carolina. And I was like, look, I want to be somewhere where nobody really knows who I am. And so I have to not force myself, but I'm forcing myself to network, get out. And, fashion is my thing. And so LA is the best place to be. So that my intent was obviously and it still is to style celebrity clients. And so, just as I navigate through becoming a full-time entrepreneur, I think that will come. I'm definitely still networking and trying to make that a thing, or not even a thing, but making that my career. But I still do it on the side, so it's not like that, like I'm not doing it at all. But end goal, I don't really have an end goal. I don't think there is an end to it. It's just I wanted to be able to catapult my brand and extend where I make a difference. So yeah, that's the easiest way to answer that. Talked about how I found an apartment. So just in addition to that, I use the Trulia app, Hot Pads app, and I mean, I looked on Craigslist, but yeah. And apartments.com. I just looked anywhere, and then I just would go visit the places. Even looking for this second apartment was tough. Looking at or Googling the property management companies here, and then going through each property management's website and looking at their open or available apartments is a good route too. And I think that's how I found this place. Excuse me. Is it expensive? So the cost of living, yes, it is more than North Carolina. I can only speak for North Carolina. In what is it called? In Greensboro, me and my friend's rent was $600, so it was $300 each. In my own place in Charlotte or Mooresville, because I lived on the outskirts of Charlotte, my rent was only $800. My rent here at this apartment is $18. So you do the math. That is expensive. But again, I just made sure that my salary with the job that I have now was going to cover my expenses, so that wasn't an issue. Like, yeah, of course it's more expensive, but I wanted to make sure I had security. I wanted to make sure I had a parking space. I wanted to make sure that I had air conditioning, because some people live without that. I wanted the same luxuries or the same amenities that I had in North Carolina. I wasn't trying to come out here and then be suffering or, not have the things that I wanted. So I just made sure that my job was able to cover it. So food, same stuff. Honestly, the first thing that I noticed was like Chick-fil-A was a little more expensive. It's like $10 instead of $7 in North Carolina, but I don't know if maybe the price went up. I can't really tell you, because clothing, no, I think everything else is pretty much, other than the rent being more expensive, everything else is pretty much the same price everywhere else. So this is kind of like the same question. How much more expensive is your life there compared to Charlotte living? Just the rent. I could just say the rent is just more expensive here. I went over the places I suggest staying here in the Valley, so you can use that information. Do you think your career would be where it is if you didn't move? Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you flourish where you are. So my success depends on me and what I'm doing and how I'm being consistent and how I'm reaching out, how I'm connecting with people and networking. So yeah, I definitely think I would be in the same space. Yeah, because that's dependent on me. I don't think it depends on the location that I'm in. So yeah. Culture shock, cost of living, culture shock. Yeah, I'm used to I'm a Southern Belle. Even though I'm from Buffalo, I'm a Southern Belle at the end of the day. So I'm very I smile, I speak to people. Here, I've had to roughen up a little bit, because it's people don't really like to speak sometimes. It just depends on the area you're in, because not everybody's nice, but it is what it is. This is the world we live in, unfortunately. But not really a culture shock. I did at first want to know where all the black people were, because I didn't see any black people. And I was like, where are they at? So I had to go to LA. They're here. They're sprinkled everywhere. But if you want to see a ton of black people, you got to go to Inglewood, LA, West LA, and you'll see us. So, how long did it take for you to find your crew? My crew. I don't have a crew. I have good girlfriends. And I love it. I feel like I've connected with some great women and men, and everybody is like-minded. They're entrepreneurs, or they're people who are well-seasoned in their careers and know what they want, and so it's cool to be around those people. That just came from connecting with people on Instagram. I know it could be a little weird on Instagram, but you have to have some type of damn, I lost my train of thought. I just feel like you have to try and connect with people, and not like just reaching out to them or whatever, like real creepy, like. But it's like women have reached out to me and they're like, hey, I'm having this event, you should come, or hey, let's link up, I'm from here, we should connect. And I'm totally fine with that, you know what I'm saying, like just to get to know each other. I'm not opposed to that. But that's how I've connected with the majority of the people that I'm friends with now. I met them on Instagram. Totally love them. I love them to death. Where to meet Black people? Go to day parties. There's tons of like everyday people in LA that comes here every so often. And any day parties that I, find stuff on Instagram. You can find events and you go to those, and that's where you meet people. Not only Black people, but yeah. How do you feel it was one of the best decisions? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that each and every day I'm reminded of that because of the connections that I'm making and the opportunities that I'm given. So it was definitely a great idea. I don't regret it. How do you make new friends as an adult? I mean, you just have to connect with people in general. You have to be open, but definitely move with caution. You can't trust everybody, but it's like, I feel like God has definitely, the paths of people that I've crossed, I don't know if I said that right, but yeah, I think that was supposed to happen, and I was supposed to meet those people. So, yeah, you just have to get out there, put yourself out there, meet people, go to events, talk to folks. Even if you go to something by yourself, introduce yourself. That's how you meet new people as an adult. Good spots to shoot. I don't have any like spots in particular, but the Arts District in downtown LA is really nice. There's an app. I'll have to list it, that it'll tell you, depending on where you are in whatever state or city, it'll tell you the best places to shoot or the most photogenic spots. Cause I just go where, like as of now, I just kind of go around the area and then just take pictures. So, did you secure your job before you left? Answered that. How did you get the courage to just do it? I was afraid, but again, I kept God first, and I wanted him to make the decision for me. I knew I wanted to be here, but I was like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do. God, it's scary. Like, I'm about to move thousands of miles away. Like, what am I supposed to do? Is this it? And he was very vocal. So I don't know what you believe in, but keep whatever your higher power is first and let them guide you. And I would just go for that. How did you decide on the location? Advice on moving a family. I answered, how did I decide the location? I just had friends who lived in this area and I liked it. Advice on moving a family. You need to be very, very careful. Gang violence is still a big thing here. I had a friend who was moving her family from Long Beach to she wanted to move to the Valley, but she had to be very careful about what areas in the Valley. I don't know anything about that because I just kind of, I knew I wanted to live in the Valley, and I just looked. I made sure the crime wasn't bad in my area, which it's a lot going on in Van Nuys. But again, my building is locked down, so I don't really have any issues other than like homeless people. That's all over LA. So you need to just be careful about different areas and making sure you're paying attention to the violence, or crime rather. But I can't really speak on it because I only move by myself. But if that's one thing of advice that I could give you, is just to make sure you, pay attention to the crime or the gang violence in that area. Just Googling that and making sure that it's to your standards. Anything I would change, and would you do it again? I would do it again. If I could do it all over, I would do it again. Is there anything that I would change? Maybe I would save more money. I would have saved more money. For sure. So definitely, just if you can move back in with your parents, move back in with your parents. Save that money up, stack it up as high as you can, so that you have a good nest egg. Because I've heard, I have friends who moved here with less than $500, some less than $100, and I'm like, I don't even know how you did it, because I was freaking out with the money that I had, and I was semi prepared. But I would definitely save more money. I would have paid off all my debt, like as far as like credit cards, pay off all that crap before you get here. I'm not talking about loans. Loans is whatever. Ain't nobody worried about no school loans. But pay off your revolving debt. Is that what they call it? So yeah, your credit cards, your store cards, pay all that crap off. So that you don't have those bills that keep coming up and then they kind of cut into your money, even if you know, like you don't want it. What else? I think that's all the questions that you guys gave me, which they were really good. I'm so appreciative that you guys sent me them. But yeah, the update is that things are going well. I'm moving into my second year at this place. Yeah, my lease ends at the end of the month, but I'm re-signing it because I want to stay here another year. I still love the area. I'm in Van Nuys, but after this year, I'm wanting to move a little further down. I want to get to like Studio City, Burbank, or Sherman Oaks, because it's a little cleaner, a little nicer, a little less of the homeless issue. So that's my goal. Still working my job. It's cool. IDK, I'm just working my butt off, man. I'm trying to be consistent with my blogging and influencing, wanting to do more in-person gigs, being on a panel. I'm totally fine with that. Like there's a lot of different goals that I have for myself, and I'm working on that, and just excited for the future and what's to come. LA has been it's been great. It's been great. I can't complain. I met some great people. I made some great connections, and it starts with you. So if you feel like this is what you want to do, if you want to move somewhere, you need to do your research, you need to save up your money, and you have to put yourself out there and say like, hey, this is what I want. I want to, you just have to push yourself to do it, because it's tough. It is. I definitely was that person that didn't want to go to events by myself, but now I go to events by myself. Totally fine. But yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll do another one next year, and let you guys know what's going on. If something big happens, if a life change happens, which I'm hoping, because I had a goal for myself this year as well before the end of the year. So, keep me in your prayers. I'm gonna keep trying to bring you guys some great content. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me and just sending me love, and you guys keep me going. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye.